Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Kickstarter and, some people claiming this is a victory, that they're walking things back when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin and all of that, the blockchain. That is not what's going on here. Actually, Kickstarter is making statements reiterating what they had said before.
And what we keep saying they were saying.
Which is, we're still looking into it.
Right. They never actually did anything. They said they were checking it out to see about doing it. And we keep bringing that up.
Yeah, so this is very interesting and very telling because Comics Kickstarter lost its collective shit when Kickstarter said they were looking into ways to utilize the blockchain. They were looking at a roadmap that would take them 2 to 5 years. They wanted to do some research before they got into it, and there were immediately all kinds of knee-jerk reactions. Oh my God, Kickstarter's burning down the rainforest. Let's all quit Kickstarter and go to Zoop and go do our own thing and whatever.
But using like plugins that take crypto.
By using plugins that take crypto, right. And they said they were going to do this. Now here's the thing, like pretty much every payment processor within 2 to 5 years probably will use some version of blockchain technology because it's not going away. But again, comic book people tend to go off half-cocked on something and oh my God, this is the worst thing ever.
And environment and minorities are the two things they're yelling about.
Yeah, just gonna leave this screen up. Just gonna leave this screen up. Minority communities may turn to crypto.
Doesn't count. It only matters when it's minorities, when it's white people yelling about it. When it's actual minorities, you can't, that we step over that and pretend doesn't exist.
What's funny about this whole Kickstarter drama with comic book people is one, we've said before, we think this is more about gatekeeping because Kickstarter gate-kept indie comics for a number of years, and then they got rid of some of the people that were the instigators of the gatekeeping. Now they're going to other platforms. So
and if they offer this in other ways, it circumvents gatekeepers.
Right, because what they're talking about doing is not just adding that technology to Kickstarter.com, but also creating like a plugin that you can use on your own website using the Kickstarter technology, which is very smart because other people are already using it. WooCommerce.
Yeah, and guess what? They have a access plugin for crypto.
They do.
Someone needs to tell certain people that were running at the mouth that.
So I think Kickstarter is trying to make sure that they are synonymous with crowdfunding with plugins too, because more and more people I think are going to turn to using their own websites or using something like Shopify, WooCommerce, etc. Very smart business move, right? And most of the backlash is coming from comic book people.
I think some tabletop, but mostly comic.
Mostly comic people. Let's just look at where comic book people rank on Kickstarter. So comics projects are like what, number 9 or 10, and they bring in currently $168 million, I think, total, compared to games, design, technology, film and video, music, publishing, fashion, food, art, just straight up art is above comics. So comics projects don't rank very high on Kickstarter, but comic book people have been trying to dictate the direction the Kickstarter goes in. Remember, Kickstarter's gatekeeping began with a comic book project.
Yes.
It was Always Punch Nazis, which Kickstarter said, no, we don't want to have that on our platform.
How dare you?
That led to people forming a union, and then they became the gatekeepers, and they decided that there were certain comic book projects that they didn't want on the platform. They were kicking people off, not because of their projects per se, but because of the kinds of people they were, their YouTube channels, whatever the deal was. And then we had, a high-profile comic book Kickstarter creator, go out a couple days ago to the mainstream media and thrash Kickstarter. Again, comic book projects, in the grand scheme of things, they could get rid of them tomorrow on Kickstarter and it wouldn't make that much of a difference.
No.
But comic book people seem to think that they can dictate the terms, Kickstarter's terms of service.
I like how that person also is like, I was one of the top performers ever. And if you go out to their current crowdfunder, it's like at $22,000. So it's not exactly like, oh, hot damn, you're the hottest thing ever.
It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and Rants guys. Over, let's see, 258,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about the comic book industry, having worked in and around the comic book industry for a number of years. And Kickstarter has been kind of controversial for comic book creators for the last couple of years. First, because of their excessive gatekeeping, trying to keep people off the platform that they did not like. And the people that were doing most of that gatekeeping were actually Kickstarter's unionized employees, and most of them got thrown overboard when Kickstarter was pleading poverty last year.
Right, and they're the ones, a lot of them probably screaming the loudest about the opening it to more people.
Yeah, I personally think it's a brilliant idea for Kickstarter to license out their technology because, one, they've already been beaten to the punch. There are other plugins for other websites. But two, that absolves you of any responsibility. So if somebody wants to, put Hitler porn on their website, and use your plugin to do it. It's
I think they're still the ones going to be processing the payments, though. So
yeah,
they still have some responsibility.
But
in some way.
There's more, some responsibility, but there's more of a plausible deniability. Like, okay, well, Kickstarter.com, we wouldn't allow this project on Kickstarter.com, but if somebody wants to take it to their own platform, these are the rules.
Yeah, and they mentioned that. And the thing about blockchain, people are mad about blockchain, but like you pointed out, all these payment processors are using it or going to be using it. Even if they're mad about crypto and these kind of things that use blockchain, if you look at the plugins, a lot of them have crypto, things you can put in with it as well. So they offer that choice. So just not using the plugin and not attaching that, crypto acceptance doesn't mean that they're completely crypto free.
Yeah.
You're talking on both sides of your face.
So I think it's funny. I mean, Heidi McDonald did an interview with a guy from Kickstarter.
Or someone from her staff. I'm not sure who did it.
Beat staff, Sean Z. Okay. So, they put this out on Comics Beat. And look, all they're saying is we're not quite there yet. They're not changing their stance. It's like they're slowing their roll. Bullshit. They said they were 2 to 5 years out from any of this.
Yeah, they were talking about that. They said Kickstarter seems to be tapping the brakes in the move.
No, they're not.
What they're not. He said, well, the person asked, why did Kickstarter decide to move to a blockchain? And what are some of the issues with the current platform blockchain that blockchain would address? And he's like, I want to clarify up front, we haven't moved to blockchain.
No.
Which is what we keep telling you.
Yes.
And a lot of what we're trying to communicate today is that we're exploring this path and we're excited about some of the possibilities. We're testing and working out in the open so people can see there's value before we move it, which is what we keep telling you. They did not move to blockchain. They were just investigating it and they were upfront about telling people they were looking into it.
Yeah, and this is, we talk about this with comic book people. And when it comes to anything, technology related or, related to legalese, they tend to get it wrong. Mm-hmm. They tend to get it wrong. They tend to have a knee-jerk reaction to it. And I mean, literally, I have seen tweets on Twitter from comic book creators saying Kickstarter is the new Comicsgate to them. Mm-hmm. Like they're swearing up, they're never going to use Kickstarter. F Kickstarter. They're horrible people, but they don't have the full story. And I guarantee you their payment processors they're using on other platforms are also using blockchain technology.
They keep bringing up, Stripe, they use Stripe with Kickstarter. Stripe doesn't take crypto. But Stripe says it's going to take crypto.
Yeah, actually, last week, iPhone update to allow Americans to accept crypto via Stripe.
Right, and if you're using any other things like your bank or your credit card, most likely they're on the blockchain or they take crypto.
PayPal's been dealing in crypto for a couple of years now. So even if you're taking donations through your website and you're using one of these services, chances are they accept crypto.
Right.
Or they're
so
going
you're
to
still part of the problem no matter what you do.
Yeah. And people are not fully understanding. Like, look, I mean, I guess I can understand the environmental impact, but you would have to be buying and selling constantly. And beyond that, they are working on better solutions that are more energy efficient. And by the time Kickstarter gets there in 2 to 5 years, I'm sure they'll have a lot of the bugs worked out.
Because it's not about that.
It's not about
That's just a scapegoat to blame it on. Same with, because it hurts minorities.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is about. This is about controlling the spice. Kickstarter became the only game in town if you were an indie comics creator. So what's going on now is the mainstream comic book industry, it's not a really good place to work. Of course, the pandemic, limited a lot of options for people. We had some publishers going out of business completely, others stopping paying people. I mean, look at what happened with Action Lab, and that was actually before the pandemic. We had Marvel at one point telling people to put their pencils down, don't draw anymore until we figure out what the budget's going to be on things. Books are getting canceled. There are rumors at DC Comics. They don't know what the hell's going on at DC Comics now. Daniel Cherry left, and there are rumors that there are going to be consolidations and layoffs and cancellations and stuff over there. So more mainstream comic book people are turning to Kickstarter to crowdfund their projects.
No, that being said, I mean, obviously, if you don't have a problem with Kickstarter, there's other choices you can go with.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to.
No, you go to Indiegogo or one of the other ones. But what's funny to me is a lot of these other alternatives outside of like the main ones like Indiegogo, like Zoop and so on, are started by comics people.
Yeah.
So they're just basically, comics people start alternative sites and then they start yelling about Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just a little weird.
So let's go out to Polygon here. Yeah, it is weird. And guess what? One of the people associated with that alternative, Zoop, was one of Kickstarter's gatekeepers that got gone. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you start to put the picture together and it looks from the outside
a little suspect. Like, let's control the comic book industry by controlling the means of production. But at the end of the day, Kickstarter could drop comics tomorrow and it wouldn't hurt them very much. It would hurt them a little bit, but not very much. They're like, well, they're more successful at 63% success rate because people are on there asking for $500 and people will see their own damn Kickstarter because they have that money to make sure that it's successful. That's why. Like, you could take comics completely out of the picture. And it's not going to do much to the bottom line on Kickstarter. So they're basically patting comic book people on the head. Because comic book people have caused them so much hassle all the way around. Again, the biggest voice out there right now is one of their comic book liaisons. And she's out there. The top earner ever. And she's out there doing damage with the press, Right. It's not doing her much good, though. No. She's not doing all that spectacular. Okay. So here we go. No, what'll happen is she'll wait. I mean, speculating here. This is usually how she'll wait a couple of years, go back to Kickstarter and pretend like nothing happened. Probably. Oh, well, they got their shit together and we had a conversation, so I'm back because I couldn't do it on my own. Anyway, Polygon. Kickstarter is pumping the brakes on blockchain tech. Bullshit. They were looking into it. They literally said. From day one. We're looking into this. We're going to get there, but we're looking into it and we want to make sure we do it right. That's what they've been saying. You guys were like, oh my God, blockchain, crypto, don't understand it. NFTs. Oh, hell, we're done. They're the new Comicsgate. Now, on the plus side, if you are a Comicsgate person, they've been leaving you alone because now they're demonizing Kickstarter. So you can just do your shit and go make your money on Indiegogo or whatever. Is Kickstarter demanding things like, we're not gender bending or race bending characters for no damn reason? Is that what Kickstarter's doing? No. Are they demanding that they make products that people actually want to buy and stop changing everything for no reasons other than like an inclusion and diversity checkboxes? No. So then how is it the next Comicsgate? I'm serious. I don't know, because it's bad. It's bad. So everything's a gate. Everything's a gate. Kickgate. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The gates are being kicked down. The gatekeepers can't keep the people they don't like out of the scene. And I'm sorry, you're still gonna fail. You're gonna fail. You're blowing yourselves up. When the stuff folds and they don't make any money, and the people who are making money come into the scene and take over. You mean like the market? Economics 101. Yeah, right. Anyway, Kickstarter pumping the brakes on blockchain tech. No, they're not, but the car is still moving. Yeah. Oh my God, guys, we slowed them down, but they're still, it's like Austin Powers. Like the steamroller's still coming. Yeah. The crowdfunding company is creating an advisory council that will include creators. They said this before. This is nothing new. If you actually read their statement and you understood what they're saying, they're basically saying to their investors, in 2 to 5 years, this is where we'd like to go. We're going to, look more at the blockchain. We're going to look at licensing out our technology. But you know what's funny about all this? The people that are the no good nicks, the people that they label Comicsgate even if they're not like us, are the ones here defending Kickstarter and being like, you're jumping the gun, you're not being fair. But we're the ones that would have been like, oh, we can't pick your project because you're a bad person. Crowdfunding pioneer Kickstarter stunned. This is Polygon, remember, as I read this is Polygon. Stunned many of its loyal customers in December when it unilaterally announced it would transition its platform to blockchain technology. Eventually. Yeah, they were looking into it. In 2 to 5 years. And they hadn't done it yet. No. The feedback among creators and backers alike was swift and sharply negative on Thursday. Of the comic people. Of the comic book people and a couple of tabletop people. And honestly, they could lose you tomorrow and it wouldn't make a
fucking difference. It doesn't make a difference. On Thursday, more than 2 months later, the company has issued a new statement declaring that it's pumping the brakes, effectively slowing but not stopping. We didn't stop them. We just slowed them down.
Tell them what they want to hear to shut them up.
That is exactly, and this interview with The Beat, it's basically like I'm doing this just to save face.
The interviewer was like an idiot because they're like, why did you decide to move there? And they're like, we didn't. I'm like, that's just like, you didn't even look into it. It's just, you didn't even look into it.
Yeah, look at this. I want to step back. This is a guy from Kickstarter. I want to step back and provide some of the framing. There's roughly 20,000 projects on Kickstarter each year. We're super proud that we're able to help all those people bring their ideas into the world, but we know that there are a lot more creative ideas that should be coming into the world every year. Think about your city, your state, or your country. There's a lot more than 20,000 projects. So the question is, what is holding back people from actually using a tool like crowdfunding to make it happen? We think about it. We think about that people don't feel confident that their project is actually going to reach all the potential backers it could because you've got this really short 30-day window. You have to find everyone who's interested in your one niche thing about sci-fi anime in Japan, bring your audience. How are you going to make sure that it reaches the potential? So they're thinking about all these things. They're basically like the money, if you're using crypto, might make it easier for people to get paid, and find your stuff. And if we license the technology out, somebody can run their own personal little crowdfunder in the Netherlands or something, and it might reach more people than it would running off of Kickstarter.
And they're like, blockchain is a protocol that would allow us to standardize how people would contribute to Kickstarter, whether it's a third-party service that's helping you promote, because you can hire those, or somebody helping you manage your pledges. There'll be a clear and transparent way for people to know the rules of the game. At the end of the day, it keeps coming down to transparency. But they're like, how dare you do this? Even though they're like, but we didn't do this yet.
Yeah. They're like, so they basically ignore them. Much of what you're saying is focused on decentralization, which I agree with. I think it's a good idea. The idea we can have different parts of Kickstarter
that we can't control?
Yeah, that are outside of Kickstarter's control.
Yes, outside of our gatekeepers' control.
Yet in the FAQ, it says that Kickstarter still plans to process all the payments themselves. There's no plan except crypto, and all the transactions still go through Kickstarter and Stripe, which, again, just pointing this out.
And if you use a credit card or bank to pay for a project, or you take the money from a project, you're still supporting blockchain and crypto.
If Kickstarter is centralizing payments, isn't Kickstarter still in control regardless of where the data is stored? I can just hear this guy being like...
It's like, we've already talked about this. How many times?
I've already said this. Right now, Kickstarter controls all the payment processing with our main partner, Stripe. We're thinking 2 to 5 years into the future.
Yes, which they keep making very clear. And they didn't say they were going to do it. They were saying we're investigating it.
These are problems we need to answer and feel confident about before we actually do anything. In the near term, there are no plans to force people to use crypto or fully move our payment system up. Yes, if you read the original statement, which was for investors, really. It was more for investors than it was for users. If you read what they were actually saying, they're like, this is where we want to go in the future, and we think it's going to be a good thing to decentralize and let people pay however they want to pay.
Right, but they're also saying that you don't have to take crypto if you don't want to.
No.
Because people are worried about crypto being fraudulent and all this other crap. Just don't accept crypto. And it's not hard.
Comics Twitter just lost its shit. Anyway, so let's go back to Polygon's hot take. Said it's pumping the brakes but not stopping the transition to protocol built on cryptographic proof-of-stake technology.
Basically means we're to tell you what you want to hear to shut you up.
Blockchain technology is currently shrouded in controversy because of the media. Its detractors cite multiple potential pitfalls. For example, the technology relies on sheer computational power, which consumes energy and generates heat. Unlike Twitter.
Yeah, unlike their blogs.
Unlike their blogs, thereby contributing to global warming. It's proven to be an extraordinarily lucrative vector for fraud, NFTs. This has nothing...
There's not NFTs, and you don't have to take crypto. They keep stressing that.
Advocates, on the other hand, see blockchain tech as a force multiplier for capitalistic endeavors.
Capitalistic endeavor. It's back. It's capitalism.
Look at all these ads for Visa and Comcast and shit.
Well, no, yeah, capitalistic investors are as they take money, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's almost like you need to take the ad money to get paid.
Theoretically, a transition to blockchain could appear seamless to visitors of Kickstarter, but it has the potential to change all the technology on which the platform runs, like every other fucking website.
Here's this thing. It's funny because things change as it progresses. Because if we were on the same technology that ran the internet 20 years ago, what would that be like now?
Oh my God, yeah. We need more like dancing banana gifs on our website.
How many things have changed in the way the internet is used, internet is run, the platforms are built? How many things have changed over the years as something new comes along that streamlines things more? How many things?
Well, that's it. Polygon is now going to become a zine. They're going to shut the website down. They're going to just Xerox.
They're never going to upgrade anything, even when it doesn't run on the internet anymore, because it's not upgraded to the place where it can.
We're gonna send out Polygon snail mail. Oh wait, you're cutting down trees for paper, aren't you? And then the electric.
No, those get all the junk mail, just print it over top.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's upcycling. Well, they would say upcycling. I'd say it's downcycling, but still.
We're gonna get an activist to have the latest issue of Polygon tattooed on their ass, and then you can read it. You can read it on their ass.
But you have to go find them first.
You have to go find them first. They're going to be standing in the street somewhere, Portland or San Francisco, and you can go read Polygon.
You aren't allowed to share photos, because if you share photos, that uses the internet, and that might be a problem.
No, use Polaroid. Pass a Polaroid around. Put it in the bathroom stall. This is the latest issue of Polygon.
Because wait till they get organic. Wait till they get organic credit card swipers. Because that guy's ass, you're going to be able to swipe your credit card right in there, and you'll be able to get a copy. I'm not going to tell you where that's printed on.
This is all about control. They want to be able to control projects and control creators, and they know what's going to happen is if Kickstarter is for everybody, everywhere, they lose control. It has many in the community sounding the alarm that technology is changing. Do you know what you sound like?
But technology always changes.
This is you, right here, in the woods with the torch.
Here's the thing. I challenge Polygon to no longer work with any company that deals with blockchain or crypto, not even take ad money from it. I also challenge them to never update their website in any way, shape, or form to anything new, because it might potentially be something that might be bad, possibly for the environment. They must stay exactly as they are, and then when it's no longer feasible to run, they'll have to go, like you said, and print it on someone's ass.
So they put this blog post up. They're taking a step back. No, they're not.
They've never changed what they said.
They're basically saying, oh, maybe we need to communicate this better.
No, they're just saying, we're going to say this to shut these people up so they'll forget about it.
Exactly. In 2 to 5 years, when you guys have gone to Zoop and failed over there.
Something else comes up that you're going to be pissed about and screaming about.
And you forget about us in 2 months. Yeah. It's clear to us now, the company said, that before we do anything else, we need to listen to your feedback so we can better address your concerns.
Does Polygon have the article where they're going out planting trees and everything all the time to offset their carbon footprint from running their blog on the internet?
Every hit piece you have to
you're out there planting trees, correct?
These new technologies are tools that are only as good as what they're used to build. That is true. It continued. It's our responsibility to make sure they serve creators, backers, and the entire creative ecosystem. Even the people you don't like, and that we're designing thoughtfully with full awareness of the challenges. In Thursday's announcement, Kickstarter lays out 4 steps. First, it will not move the Kickstarter website to a blockchain protocol unless it has been tested. This is exactly what they said before. They're going to test the technology. They're going to test it. And then they're going to create like a third-party app, or they're going to license it out. And then eventually, at the end of it, they'll move Kickstarter there too. They have never deviated.
We're not going to automatically shift our infrastructure. You never were going to. They've been there from day one. Second, it will establish an advisory council, including backers and creators, to help guide its next steps that they probably choose.
Yeah, right. We heard from you that you want us to address immediate creator needs on our core platform. There's nothing changing right now. 2 to 5 years. They're basically saying this is where we want to go long term to try to get the investors excited.
And when they're saying they're taking an advisory council, that does not mean all comics people. I'm sure, because that's just one aspect of their entire platform.
Yes, because Spike, I'll name her, Spike, was very salty that they wouldn't return her numerous emails,
because she's her.
Because she's Spike, and I'm sorry.
Well, she's the highest platform earner ever.
This is where you're at. This is why they're not getting back to you. They've got bigger fish to fry, right? It reaffirmed its promise that the blockchain protocol it helps create for crowdfunding will be built by an independent organization. It will be a public benefit corp, the business entity with an inbuilt legal responsibility to perform social good. Well, they're already saying what their social good is. Their social good is we open up Kickstarter to a lot more people.
So the people who wouldn't have access normally would have access.
Right.
But that includes people you don't like.
Right. Kickstarter says it plans to review and reconsider its environmental impact. By the time they get around to it, they're going to have a lot of this shit figured out. They're already working on it. We've committed to our PBC charter to limiting our environmental impact, and we'll hold the new protocol the same standard.
They'll limit it to the exact same limits that every other website and everything else are doing. So, like, you know, whatever the banks are doing and everybody else are doing to limit theirs, that's probably what they'll do.
Yeah. I mean, God. The irony. The Kickstarter was looking at a system where there's no guarantee you get anything for your money to back their entire system, which is built on the idea there's no guarantee you get anything for your money. It's amusing still. It's so ridiculous so many companies are hopping on this shit for no reason other than it's trending. But they're not saying Kickstarter is going to mint your comics into NFTs. What they're saying is we're going to move to blockchain because everybody's moving to blockchain.
Right. You can still go get your comics. You can still get your comic projects fulfilled where you can go get it printed and kill trees to print your books.
Sure.
I mean, you're still, that's not going to stop that. You're still going to be able to go and, you know, print your books on dead trees.
Again, that pendulum swing. Netflix has learned, apparently, with Dave Chappelle. Other people are learning slowly. Kickstarter has learned that listening to a handful of salty comic book Twitter people is not good for its...
I would have said dumbasses.
Dumbasses is not good for its bottom line. It's not good for its future. They would love for Kickstarter to be gatekept so the 24 vetted creators can constantly get their...
they can get theirs funded over and over again, and it's only for them.
Yep. And that's not realistic. It's not good business.
Because we're the right kind of people.
And I'm sorry, go someplace else.
But their books kill trees just the same as everybody else's books kill trees.
Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.